Hello and good afternoon to everybody out there. My name is Grant Mitchell, and welcome in to another edition of Shot Clock Violation. Now, I am joined by a wonderful panel today here. Some may say it's the best yet. We're going to have to wait and see. But we've got a couple of returning champions here, Will Reed and Jaya Williams. And we've also got last week's runner-up, Amber Williams, and Ryan Goetien, who is also still looking for his first championship. Now, normally I would give the opening words to last week's champion, but last week's champion, Akshay Kumbar, is unavailable today, so we're going to have to skip that segment. I'm just going to ask you all very quickly. We'll run down the line. Will, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty solid today. I got my McGregor type cut now that I'm prepared. I did my research. I've been researching all the way up until the start of this show. I'm ready. I'm even standing up. I've got like my whole new setup here. I'm pumped.
Yeah, Amber, you said you were doing a bunch of research too. You're coming in prepared today?
Oh yeah, I've got all my notes ready. I am ready to go, and I've got my lucky necklace on today.
And Jaya was the first ever champion of the show. She was eliminated early last time. I assume you're coming back for revenge this time?
Oh, yes, Grant. It's been far too long since I've won one of these, so you already know I'm ready to go.
And Ryan, we know he's the funny guy. He brings the energy every time he's on camera. Ryan, how you doing?
Doing great. I'll do better after I win this thing, as long as I don't get robbed. And let's see what happens.
The fans, bold words from our challenger.
The fans love me, so I mean, as long as I don't get robbed, I'll be doing okay.
He's already calling for a conspiracy, saying he's robbed, and the show hasn't even started yet.
I'm just saying, this happened 3 times. So hopefully, it doesn't happen a 4th time.
Well, before we dive in here, first things first, make sure that all of you guys out there are subscribed to the Sports 2.0 Network. We're over 600 subscribers on YouTube. Check out the Sports 2.0 Network to stay up to date with the latest content and news in the sporting world. My money is on Amber. Ryan's getting booted first, says Tanner Kern. Well, you know what? The wait is over. We are about to dive into it here with round 1. And for those who don't know, real quick, the first 2 rounds in this show will be comprised of 1-minute response time for each of our contestants. We will go around and eliminate a person at the end of each round. Now, Will, you're going to get the first word here, and I want to know, we've got the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 4 tonight. I want to know who you're taking and why. Will, you are now on the clock.
It seems like I'm always getting the first word in these shows now. I think that's just a strategy, so I go last in the second round. But I'll get started anyway. I know you disagree with me here, Grant, but I'm going with the Bucks in this one. I mean, the others may disagree with me as well, but they've only lost 1 game in 5-serve form this whole postseason. Giannis has been on an absolute tear. 40 points, 10 rebounds in his last 2 games. I don't see any way for the Suns to stop him. Ever since Dario Saric has been injured out, DeAndre Ayton has been the last line of defense in the paint there for the Phoenix Suns, and he hasn't really been able to do much, getting into a lot of foul trouble. Giannis went to the line 17 times in Game 3, and they've really had no answer to stop him. I really predict that, or anticipate that the Suns are going to try to collapse on the paint here in Giannis for Game 4, and that means a lot of opportunities for Giannis to pass it out to one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the league in the Bucks. They got Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, all those guys will hit some threes tonight, and I'm predicting the Bucks to come out and make the series 2-2 tie.
Will likes the Bucks. Jaya, how about you? What are you thinking going into tonight's matchup? You are on the clock.
Now, I'm going to have to go with the Phoenix Suns here. I think they're going to be able to take this one. I think it's safe to say the Suns are just the more stable and consistent team in this series. Now, I was right about my prediction that the Bucks are going to be able to steal Game 3 with that home court advantage. And while they are still at home, I'm just not too confident that they can get another one, even with how well Giannis has been playing. I think everyone on the Suns, Booker, Ayton, CP3, all those guys are going to really step it up and be on their best game tonight. They had a tough Game 3. Booker and CP3 especially didn't play at the same level that they have in the first 2 games, but I predict that they're going to be able to bounce back from that and perform at their typical levels. Booker has a history of redeeming himself after a bad game. He's had some rest time to heal up that hamstring. So I think at their highest levels, it'll be too much for the Bucks to handle. Even with Giannis doing the best. If I'm the Suns, I'm going to keep Ayton on Giannis. He has the lowest shooting percentage when Ayton is on him, and I think they can win it.
I like that. I'm taking the Suns in this one as well. Ryan, what do you think here? You going with the Suns or you going with the Bucks?
I'm going with Will the Thrill here. I got to go with the Bucks. You know, they've been playing great at home this postseason. They started off the series 0-2 just like they did against the Nets. They won both games at home. Like Will said, they only lost one game this postseason. Their fan base is incredible, even on the road. And I mean, they're just an incredible fan base. They've been starving for a championship. Giannis is very motivated. He has all the confidence in the world. His knees looking great. Who would have thought? You got Chris Middleton shooting the lights out. Drew Holiday playing pesky defense. I just think it's just a lot for the Suns to handle all at once. The only way I see the Suns winning this game is if they somehow get Giannis in foul trouble and Booker goes crazy, which Booker can go crazy, but is Booker going to go crazy and they're going to stop Giannis? I just think it's too much to handle. Bobby Portis has also been an unsung hero for the Bucks. I don't know if Dario Saric made a huge difference, Will, but I guess you can throw that in there. But I got to go with the Bucks tonight. I see them tying up the series 2-2, going back to Phoenix.
Ryan siding with Will on this one. Amber, how about you? You going with the guys or you sticking with Jaya here?
Yeah, so it's going to be the Suns. So far the series has gone exactly like I predicted. I said the Suns would take the first two games, and then when the competition returned to the Bucks home, they would take the third game just because of their crazy fan base. Now, I was never a Suns and 4 person. The Bucks are way too good for that. But with that being said, and despite it being at the Bucks' place again tonight, I think the Suns are going to take this one and make it a 3-1 lead. Why? Because the Suns now have something to prove, and this is a pivotal game, and they know that. If they let the Bucks take it again, they will lose their momentum, and the series will be evened out. So they have something to prove after that loss. And even if Giannis absolutely explodes again, which I don't doubt he will, the Suns with CP3 and Devin Booker are just too much. The Bucks are relying way too heavily on Giannis, and eventually I don't think that's going to be enough, and I think tonight is when it's not going to be enough. The Suns are going to take this game.
I like it. Some interesting cases from both sides. We end up getting a 2-2 split there. Like I mentioned, I'm taking the Suns in this one, but I like what Will especially had to say. The Bucks have only lost one game at their home stadium so far, so that's something to watch for in tonight's matchup. But that's going to do it for the first topic here, and we're going to move on to the second half of round one here. And I want to go to the diamond. We're talking about baseball here. We're talking about the home run derby, and specifically Shohei Ohtani. Now, he has been, I don't know if you want to call him the golden child or you want to call him the future face of the league, maybe the league of the face of the league right now, but he disappointed in the home run derby. And we're going to go in reverse order this time. Amber, you're going to get the first words here. Shohei Ohtani, he lost in the first round. What happened in that home run derby? Amber, you're on the clock.
Okay, so first off, it wasn't that disappointing. All right, he didn't win. Yeah, whatever. But this event is really just for fun and to watch the athlete's skill. Of course, I would have liked to see him take the win over Pete Alonso, if only for the sake of not having a repeat champion. But we still got to see him display his absolute incredible skill. And I enjoyed it when he went up with the swing off against Juan Soto. And in the end, yeah, it was upsetting that he didn't dazzle us like we all expected, and he didn't blow the competition away, but that doesn't make him a bad player. You know, everyone has off nights, and it was still fun to watch him compete. And I think all the fans of him would agree that as long as he doesn't drop the ball when it matters in an actual game, I don't think the fans will care that much. Yeah, it's disappointing, but, you know, I mean, it happens. Everybody has off nights, and it was still really fun to watch him compete.
Ryan, how about you? You think it's a major storyline, or are you with Amber? It's not a huge deal.
Yeah, I'm with Amber. I really don't think it's a huge deal. You know, it's one thing if he choked in like a major playoff game, but it's a home run derby. Everyone's just getting out, having fun. It's like All-Star Weekend. Nobody really talks about players choking in the 3-point contest or the dunk contest. Obviously, when they don't perform the way we expect them to, we're disappointed. But I wouldn't call it a choke. I think something to mention that people don't talk about is he's been in the storylines for about what others are saying about him. I don't know if you guys picked up on what Stephen A. Smith said, but I think that caused a lot of disturbance. Maybe it was in his head. It's caused a lot of rift going on. That may have something to do with it. I'm just glad to see him, you know, looking confident. I know he didn't put out his best effort there, But I think as the season goes on, I see him having a much better performance, I guess you could say, in the actual games compared to the Derby.
Jo, we know Otani has been lights out this season. He's one of the best talents the game's ever seen. He's able to pitch and he's able to hit, leading the league in home runs. So far, your co-hosts here, your co-panelists have said it's not a huge deal, but there was so much expectation heaped on Otani. Do you think that it was a big deal he lost that early in the competition?
I think my co-hosts are right. I think everyone's being a little dramatic. Were the expectations for him high? Yes, absolutely. He was my pick. I would have loved to see him excel, but it is the home run derby. Okay, he didn't win an award. He didn't register a strikeout, didn't reach base. He still blasted a ball 500 feet in the home run derby. He pitched a ball 100 miles an hour in the game. So that shows a mix of his skills, and we all know what he can do. So also, I just feel like the All-Star game was a good source of redemption for him. He was knocked out in the first round of the home run derby Monday night, yes. He threw a scoreless inning and went 0 for 2, yes. He wasn't the highlight of either event, but he was in the spotlight for all of it. And the American League won 5-2 with Otani starting on the game mound. So he was in it when the team took the league for good. And then obviously he won pitcher. So nobody's doubting his skill here. Would it have been great to see him excel? Yes. But is it a huge deal? No.
Will, you've got the last words here. We were doing a live watch along of the Derby. What are your thoughts on Otani's early exit in the home run derby?
No, this is obviously not what the MLB wanted here. They wanted their golden boy Shohei Ohtani to make it far in this MLB derby. I'm sort of with the other panelists that it's not really that big of a deal, but for the MLB it was. I mean, the hype behind him was enormous. They were showing him basically for the entire hour lead up until the derby, the entire hour that the other players were competing against him. Were batting, and they were just focusing on Shohei Ohtani, doing his interviews and all that kind of stuff. But that was a big disappointment for them. I mean, I anticipated it. I had Juan Soto winning in that first round and winning the whole thing, going up against Shohei Ohtani. So I was not too surprised. I haven't seen a player like Shohei Ohtani get so much attention since maybe Patrick Mahomes' breakout second year with the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL. I'm not a big fan of Patrick Mahomes for that reason, and I'm not a big fan of Shohei Ohtani for that reason. They get way too much media attention. I mean, I do think Shohei Ohtani is probably one of the greatest baseball players ever graced this planet. But too much attention, I think this weekend really showed that we need to spread out the love for some other guys.
Spread out the love for other guys. That's always a good thing. We try to give you love on Parlay Power Hour, so I know you're familiar with that. But that's going to do it for round one right there. You heard our panelists. They all agreed not a huge deal that Ohtani dropped out of the Derby that early, even though there were so many expectations placed on him. But now comes the worst time of the show when I have to say goodbye to one of our lovely, beautiful contestants here. And in this first round, my decision came down to there were a couple of names that were stuck in my head more so than others. And just because I like the statistics that were thrown out, I like sort of the ingenuity of the arguments. We're going to have to say goodbye to Ryan here. It's rigged. I know. There are people backstage I've got an earpiece in. They're telling me that you have to go, Ryan. I don't know if you've got overdue bills and you haven't paid them or something, but this is going to be the end of your time on the show here. Do you have anything to say before you head out?
I hate to say it, Grant, but you guys just lost all your viewers. You know, I mean, no one's gonna watch when I'm out. So yeah, see, Tanner, I want Ryan. There you go. The fans love me. The fans love me. Yeah, I got robbed again. Number 4. You know, Grant, honestly, don't invite me back to the next episode of Shot Clock Violation. I'm out.
Well, for that reason, I'm out. Sounding like Mark Cuban up there on Shark Tank. Ryan, thank you for participating, but we will see you next time. And now we're going to move into round 2 here. And we are going to go back to the hardwood. And I want to get you guys' opinions on this one because this has been a story, if you can call it that, maybe so a developing storyline. Giannis is having an incredible postseason thus far. And many people aren't talking about it because they won 7 games with the Nets. Kevin Durant had that great performance. They swept the Heat in a fashion that nobody really talked about. But he has been balling out of his mind, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. Amber, you went first last time. Will, you started it off. So we're going to let Jaya get the first words on this one. Jaya, what do you think of the postseason that Giannis Antetokounmpo has had so far? You are on the clock.
I think I'm with you. I mean, it's incredible. It's amazing. It's very impressive. When Giannis was injured and out, you could really feel that emptiness without his presence. And everything you named with the Nets, everything in that postseason, amazing. But these NBA finals itself are really what's been impressing me so far. He's already halfway to reaching MJ's record in just these first 2 games. He's the first player since LeBron James in 2016 to put up over 40 plus points in 2 consecutive NBA Finals games. And if he can accomplish that again in game 4 and 5, he'll have been the only one next to Michael Jordan to have accomplished that. Ironically enough, MJ did it in the 1993 Finals against the Suns. But that's besides the point. My real point is that I think people don't give Giannis enough credit sometimes because he's absolutely been exceptional in this postseason, and being compared to these kind of GOATs really just shows his ability and his talent. And I've been really, really happy with what I've been seeing from him.
We know what happened when LeBron put those 40-point games together. Amber, what do you think of what Giannis is doing in the postseason thus far?
Yeah, so Giannis is absolutely incredible. In my opinion, he's carrying this Bucks team. You know, he's averaging 29.2 points per game, which is amazing. And in this Suns series alone, he scored 20 points in game 1 with 17 rebounds. Game 2, he came out and doubled this with 42 points, and then he kept that pace for game 3 with 41 points. For me, it's reminiscent of Michael Jordan's 1998 run for the Bulls for his 6th ring against the Utah Jazz. You know, he carried the Bulls to that championship with a 45-point show. And that's what this is kind of reminding me. Like, Giannis has the ability to possibly do that. So if Giannis somehow pulls off leading the Bucks to a championship, which, I mean, I already stated I don't think he's going to do it. But if he did it this year, I would compare it to that Michael Jordan run. I'm going to have to go with Jay on this one. We have to compare him to MJ. And I don't think people are underestimating him. I think they know what he can do, but the problem is whether the rest of his teammates are able to assist him.
Will, you get the last words in round 2 here. What do you think of this postseason run that Giannis has put together thus far?
No, you got to put this run right up there in the top 10 greatest playoff postseason runs of all time. I mean, obviously you got the great runs from Michael Jordan and LeBron James, but you got to look at the numbers here from Giannis. As Amber mentioned, 29 points per game in these playoffs, just around 12 rebounds per game, and just around 5 assists. If you go back to what I think is LeBron James' best finals run in 2012 with the Heat, which is probably one of the best finals runs of all time, he put up just around 30 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists, almost identical numbers to Giannis' postseason numbers this year for the Bucks. And then you go back all the way back to what I think was Michael Jordan's best run in the playoffs, 1991, for his first ring. He put up 31 points per game, just around 8 rebounds per game, 8 assists. So his numbers are almost just on par with those guys, if not as good, if not better. And he's been playing well on the defensive end as well. I know when Jordan won his ring in 1991, he had almost 2.5 steals per game and 2 blocks per game, which is just impressive from a guard, let alone. But Giannis has been able to do that same thing at his height. He's been completely willing this Bucks team to victory. They would have never made it past the Heat or the Nets without him, and they're going to finish it off against the Suns, I think, this year.
Will, did I hear you right? You're taking the Bucks to win the title this year.
I am.
So Will's predicting a comeback, and he's already said he's got them winning tonight, so that would make it 2-2. But that's going to do it there for round 2. It's a short one, and this is maybe even harder than the first round because I liked what all of you guys had to say, and there's not much room for disagreement on this topic. We all know that Giannis has been playing incredibly well. So for that reason, I'm going to have to give it to the people who brought in the most information, the most statistics. And unfortunately, that means, Jaya, we're going to have to let you go again early. Amber and Will had all the numbers from the 90s, and they were comparing it together. So I feel like they made a more compelling case here. But thank you for stopping by. Is there anything that you want to say before we move on to the final round?
I think we're all in the same boat here. I respect your decision, but honestly, I think we all had great arguments, so I'll just be back next time.
Well, Jaya, thank you for joining, and we will see you soon. Now comes this moment that everybody has been waiting for. Amber, this is her second appearance on the show, and she is now in her second final. So she could not capture her first championship. Maybe she gets it done today. Will famously was eliminated by way of disqualification in the first show because his internet went out. He wins the next show, comes into the third show and said he's taking on all challengers, and then didn't make the final in that show. So Will's got a spotty record here. Like I said, Amber's looking for her first championship. And this round is going to be a little different than the first two for those who are new to the show. Will is going to get to go first on the first topic here. He's going to get 24 seconds to speak. Amber will have 24 seconds to respond. Will gets 24 seconds to cross-examine. Amber gets another 24, and we're done. So we have 3 topics lined up, 2 24-second periods to speak for each person on each topic. Now here we go, diving into this final round here. First topic. Vladimir Guerrero wins All-Star in the All-Star MVP in the MLB's All-Star Baseball game. Will, what did you think of Vladdy? Did he deserve it? And if not, who did?
No, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was more than deserving of it. And it really came as no surprise to me once he opted out of that home run derby and saved a lot of his energy for the upcoming rest of the season in the All-Star game. I mean, after you see that 468-foot bomb that he put on display for that home run to get the AL on top, there really was no debate about it. He added another RBI on it onto his resume near the end of the game. But after that, there really wasn't a debate about it. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. deserved this for the AL win.
Amber, what do you think about Vladimir Guerrero's MVP award?
I absolutely love to see it. He is having a breakout season, and he's actually the youngest player to bring home this MVP honor at 22. He had a bullet of a home run and 2 RBIs, so very well deserved. And my favorite thing was that he talked to his friend Fernando Tatis Jr. when he got it done. He was like running over to him, and I love that. I love to see that camaraderie between the players. Absolutely well deserving.
Yeah, of course, they're longtime friends. They had Tatis mic'd up when Vladdy hit the home run, and even though the mic was on, he wasn't saying much. He was just standing there with his hands over his head. Will, anything you want to say back to Amber there? It sounds like you guys agree. So just thoughts on the game in general, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it really was, Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s award to lose after that home run. There was really some just phenomenal pitching throughout this game. The AL was able to get out to a solid lead, and they pretty much held on to it. Their pitching staff was great, and they really shut down the NL. After Vladimir Guerrero was able to get those first few runs for them. So, I mean, other than that, it was a great game and pitching performance from all that performed, and I wasn't too disappointed. I also loved the mics that they had on the players that you just mentioned. That really added a lot of fun to the game.
You went over the timer, but we'll allow it because it had nothing to do with Vladdy. But yeah, I think that's one of the best things in baseball. I'd love to see it in other sports, obviously. NBA and the NFL have their hot mics, but I think those player mics are great. Amber, you've got the final 24 seconds here in this round. Any final thoughts on either Vladdy or the game in general?
Yeah, I think, Vladdy is the one that I think he's the reason the American League was able to do as incredible as they were. And, I am a Blue Jays fan, so I love to see it. Incredibly deserving. I think it's amazing for him, especially to be so young to earn this honor. Yeah, great.
He has one of the brightest futures, in baseball right now, and maybe even that we've ever seen. He's got the pedigree, he's got the talent, he's got everything he needs. But we're going to move on here, and we're going to go with a little prediction here. Now, I've asked on this show before who the MVP might be, who the Defensive Player of the Year could be, who the Super Bowl champion would be. But I want to know your guys' pick for the NFL Super Bowl contenders from a dark horse team. So I fumbled over my words there. Dark horses in the Super Bowl. Amber, you're going to get to go first on this one. Who are you taking as a team that might be under the radar, but you feel like has a chance to make the Super Bowl?
All right. Everyone is absolutely underestimating the Washington football team. I mean, they were reigning NFC East champions, and they played a really decent game against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, possibly the best that anyone played against, the Super Bowl champs. They had the second best yards per play, and, they have Ryan Fitzpatrick leading them. And I know PointsBet is giving them positive odds of 5,000, but I don't think they should be counted out yet. They are the team I'm going with for my dark horse.
Will, you've got a chance to respond here. We're both from Virginia, so I'm sure we're loving that. But who is your pick for the dark horse?
No, as a Washington football team fan, I love to hear that from from Amber, but I'm going with the Cleveland Browns. They've got way too many weapons to not be in Super Bowl contention this year. Just look at the offense: Baker Mayfield, Kareem Hunt, and Nick Chubb out of the backfield, Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry out in the wideouts, along with Donovan Peoples-Jones, Austin Hooper as a tight end. Then on the defensive end, you got Myles Garrett, one of the best edge rushers in the league, and Denzel Ward, a blossoming young corner. They have all the tools needed to be a good Super Bowl contention team.
Amber, you've got 24 seconds here. More thoughts on Washington, or give your thoughts on Will's pick of the Cleveland Browns? It's up to you. You're on the clock.
I'm going to give a little bit more about Washington because I saw a comment about Taylor Heineke. You know, I am from the Norfolk area, and ODU is my local school. So I've been following Taylor Heineke since he was in college, and I think he's an up-and-coming star for the Washington football team. And I think this could be a season that we see a little bit more of him playing, and I think they're going to absolutely explode more than people think.
Wow. Taylor Heineke, I mean, you mentioned it earlier in the show. He gave Tom Brady the best fight of any quarterback in the postseason, which includes Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes. Will, you've got the final thoughts on this one. 24 seconds. Talk about the Browns. Talk about the football team. It's your choice. You are on the clock.
Yeah, I completely wouldn't mind that out of the Washington football team, but as a fan, there's still a few question marks that I have going into this season. The linebacker core has seemed a little bit slow, but they did add Jamin Davis. Maybe he adds something new to that defense, but we will have to see. He's still only a rookie. And at the quarterback position, Ryan Fitzpatrick has been incredibly inconsistent his entire career. We don't know what kind of Ryan Fitzpatrick we're going to get this year. Taylor Heineke's only played 2 professional games, really, or started 2 professional games, so we don't know what we can get from him either.
I like that. Well, we are going to go into the final topic of our final round. So this is a big one, guys. But before we hop into it, for those people still tuned in, make sure you are subscribed to the Sports 2.0 Network. We're getting ever closer to the next 100 subscriber milestone. Give it a couple weeks and we might be at 1,000 with the rate we're going. So sign up now before it's too late. The final topic here, it's the hot topic right now. There's not a ton of sports going on, which feels crazy because we just had felt like a million stories every day. But we've got the finals tonight, and I want to know your guys' picks on the NBA Finals MVP. Right now, Chris Paul is leading the race. You'd have to think, given the Suns' lead, and you'd have to say that Giannis is probably second. And from there, you can fill out the field. Will, you're going to get to go first on this one. Who do you think is set up to win NBA Finals MVP?
Yeah, you mentioned it. This is really an award that goes to the best player on the team that wins the championship. Otherwise, LeBron would have won it a couple of years back. With my anticipation that the Bucks are going to finish out be able to finish out the series, we're going to have to go with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I named it before, one of the top 10 playoff runs of all time, comparable with stats from Jordan and LeBron. He's been absolutely sensational for the Bucks, and he would deserve this award were the Bucks to win this series.
Amber, you picked the Suns tonight, so I would assume you have them winning the series.
Yes.
Who is your pick for the Finals MVP?
Yeah, so I actually just wrote an article on this, and I said to put your money on CP3. So why? Because in Game 1, he put up 32 points. That's more than anyone on the court. He led scoring for the Suns in their loss against the Bucks in Game 3 as well. He's an absolute leader. He energizes his teammates. And he's actually the first player since Michael Jordan to have 30 points and 8 assists in his final debut. He is an absolute unit. The Suns are going to win it, and he's going to get the MVP. End of story.
A lot of comparisons to Michael Jordan here. I didn't expect this when I was writing down these topics. Will, these are going to be your last words of the show here. Make them good.
No, I mean, I respect Amber's pick of CP3, but I think if the Suns are going to win this series, they're really going to need some input from Devin Booker. Yeah, CP3 might still win the Finals MVP, but they're not going to win this series without great scoring from Devin Booker. You saw it in Game 1. Devin Booker had a great game. Game 2, he was a little off. Game 3, obviously, he only had 10 points. But if they're going to win this series, they're going to need Devin Booker to step up. And if he does, I think it could be a toss-up between CP3 and Devin Booker, so I'm not totally sure about the CP3 pick.
Amber, Will thinks Devin Booker could get back in the mix here. What do you have to say to that for your final words of the show?
First off, I'm going to have to go with a no for that because I have a direct quote from Devin Booker that I found. He said about CP3, he's the greatest leader to ever play the game. And that's what Devin Booker said about CP3. And guess what? Leaders are the ones that get MVPs. So I'm still going to stick with my CP3 getting the MVP.
Well, there you heard it. We've got one vote for Giannis. We've got one vote for CP3. And I will settle the tie. No, I won't, because I could see it going either way. I have no clue who's going to win this series. I'm just a fan of basketball, and I think it's been a great series, great playoffs. So I'm really looking forward to watching it as a neutral. Since my Lakers got eliminated, it's taken a lot of stress off of me. I'm just having a free ride here. That's going to do it for Shot Clock today. And now comes the all-important time where we find out who our winner is. Will become the first two-time champion of the show? Will Amber get her first victory on the show? I'll tell you right now, it's going to be the latter. And Amber is the winner of today's show. Yeah, she's clapping over there. Amber and I go to Virginia Tech. She mentioned it. Well, we're all in Virginia right now, so it's a local affair. But congratulations, Amber. Will, awesome job. You were very prepared, but I feel like it was close going into that final round, and Amber drove it home with that quote from Devin Booker. So for that reason, got to give it to her. Amber, anything you want to say? This is your moment. Your name is in lights, so anything you want to say, this is your chance.
Yeah, all of my competitors are absolutely great. You know, Will, you're really tough. I can't believe I beat you. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm so happy to win my first, shot clock violation. And thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming on. And we are still searching for our first two-time winner. Maybe it'll be one of these two. Tune in next week. But for now, that's going to do it from us. I've been Grant Mitchell, and on behalf of Will Reed, Amber Williams, Ryan Goetzian, and J.O. Williams, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time. Have a great day.